Top 5 projects and capabilities of a Raspberry Pi which you did not know. Number 1. Bitcoin mining with Raspberry Pi. With just a Raspberry Pi, you can mine Bitcoin for free with additional software features. For the operating system, we are using Linux. You can use Raspberry Pi OS, which is the best one for this task. And the tools we are going to use is MinerGate and a GitHub tool called CPU Miner Multi. And bear in mind, because the CPU will go up to 100% most of the time while its background process is to mine Bitcoin, so you may need a sufficient cooling. Although you can expect more profit from Raspberry Pi, but there are a little bit less chances of actually mining a Bitcoin. You cannot expect much profit. Number 2. With a Raspberry Pi, you can make your own desktop PC running real Windows 10. You can install real Windows 10 on Raspberry Pi from Microsoft officially, and bear in mind this is not the IoT version but is the real desktop PC version. But you will also need some other tools like a mouse, keyboard and a monitor. And there are some features which won't work, like Wi-Fi, because they don't have any ARM drivers which can make the onboard Wi-Fi work. So instead you can use a Wi-Fi adapter, or you can use just Ethernet if you have an internet connection, or share your Android phone's internet through USB by using USB tethering. But don't worry, Bluetooth works perfectly and I have tested it myself, and you can even share your internet through USB or even through Bluetooth. And don't worry about all the other features. All the features like USB ports, audio jack and pretty much everything just works fine. Number 3. Host a website for free on Raspberry Pi without paying for hosting. You can really host a free website with secure SSL certification for free without paying for hosting services like GoDaddy. And you can even use WordPress. But you must have a registered domain, which is something for which you have to pay for. And bear in mind that if your website doesn't load up faster, then it is because of your read and write speeds of your SD card. That is why it is recommended to use a hard drive, or is the best case to use an SSD, which is much faster when compared to an SD card. A video tutorial can be found in the video description. Number 4. Make your own cloud storage like Google Drive with Raspberry Pi. With a Raspberry Pi, you can make your own cloud storage by which you can upload files to the cloud, which is in a remote place with a secure SSL certification. You can even control your Raspberry Pi cloud storage server like Google Drive. But for this project, we will be using Nextcloud because it is open source, which means you can modify the code if you want on GitHub. And if you don't know what is Nextcloud, it is an alternative to Google Drive in an open source way. And for this project, you must have installed Raspberry Pi OS on your Raspberry Pi, and this will make us help Raspberry Pi act as a backend server, and the front end will be managed by Nextcloud itself. Now for the last and the final project. Number 5. Network management system with a Raspberry Pi. Say you have an internet connection and it expands into a large area, then you can manage it with just a Raspberry Pi in a much smarter and compact way. Again, for this project you must see installed Raspberry Pi OS as your base system. And for this project we will be using a tool called NEMS, which is a network monitoring system tool only available for the Raspberry Pi OS. You can learn more about it at nemslinux.com. And thank you for watching. If you liked the video, then hit the like button, and if you are new to the channel, then please subscribe which would make my day. And please comment down below if I missed something.